If we could set up a Truman Show scenario where Trump thinks he's president again and the public send in scenarios for him to deal with, what would you suggest? The occupants want to meet with him and they're very curious about dining at fast food restaurants. I'd love to see him playing tour guide to people in alien costumes, explaining Crunchwrap Supremes and why the McDonald's ice cream machine doesn't work. Things will really take off when one of the aliens starts flattering him, mentioning how attractive he is. The alien asks him to touch a seeming innocuous part of its body and a fine mist sprays him in the face. An episode or 3 later and it's casually dropped in conversation how Trump unknowingly jerked the alien off and got a facial, and they think it's hilarious because when you're an interstellar traveler visiting a less advanced species you can just get away with things like that. A flock of genetically modified, hyper-aggressive geese is flying straight for the White House bent on destroying the last vestige of American greatness. Then send in a high-ranking official from the DoD to convince Trump to take shelter in a newly constructed goose defense bunker. Only Trump is told of the bunker and whenever he asks about anyone else someone just tells him they're on their way. Nobody will be coming. While he is trapped in the bunker, slowly remove all the actors in small groups at a time so it looks like humanity is losing the war. In the end all the actors are gone and he's left alone thinking the human race was destroyed by birds. In an earlier episode, Sir, we've been preparing the American public for this eventuality for many years. Are you familiar with the Jurassic Park movies? Yes, documentaries. Really, we've been seeding the stories for a while so people were ready for the truth. Just like UFOs, geese are slightly less toothy velociraptors. They don't call them cobra chickens for nothing. According to the scientists, it doesn't take much genetic fiddling to get them back to basics. We knew it was going to happen someday, though we didn't expect Canada would be the ones to do it first and turn them loose. They say it was a lab accident, but we're not entirely sure. Am I safe down here? Probably. But they've already crossed our border and it's going to be a battle to keep them from devastating our cities. Walls ain't going to work with these guys. Can we nuke them? It's possible, sir. But we're afraid that might mutate them even more. Can we try? Maybe in Detroit or New York first? Me and my 3 friends went to the Ripples Believe It or Not museum after each eating 2 of 8 brownies that I made with like 2 ounces. They had one room that was on a 10-degree angle, just enough that it would really fuck with you sober. You're supposed to walk through the room and go whoa, then continue to the next. But we stayed in that room for like an hour and my friend's girlfriend sat in the corner and cried. But he only did literally anything if it was brought to him, simplified and with pictures, and his initial reaction was to A. Rubber stamp the judge nomination, B. Rubber stamp tax exemptions for donors, C. Claim everything is fine, and if it isn't then he already has the best plan to fix it. Believe it. Seriously, please just believe it. Don't expect to see a document or nothing. So given free rein it'd be him smelling Sharpies, binging daytime TV and playing golf. Disparate house bands of DC. This fall on OAN. I would tell him that Nancy Pelosi stepped down from House Speaker for health reasons, and that the Democrats have chosen Pedro Rodriguez, made-up person with the most stereotypically Mexican name I could think of. Then, tell him that Mike Pence had a heart attack and died, and so the Speaker has moved into the job of VP. That's not how it works, but Trump's too dumb to know that. So now, Trump has to work every day with his new VP, who will let slip that he is an anchor baby, who will use lots of Spanish phrases and arrange lunch from Taco Bell instead of McDonald's and convert the presidential limo into a lowrider and otherwise behave in many ways that Trump associates with Mexican immigrants. That should be fun to watch. Tell him that Kristen Stewart has infected 150 people with COVID coughing on chicken nuggets at the McDonald's and 26 of them have died since it happened yesterday. I want to see if his hatred for Kristen Stewart will win out over his denial that COVID is a bad disease, and I think the introduction of the chicken nuggets will lead to some interesting places, especially if I create a fake Twitter sphere where McDonald's threatens to shut down forever over this event, costing thousands of Americans jobs. Really having him do any task that a normal person could do fine would be great. I'm sure he's completely incapable of so many mundane things. It would be so entertaining. I'd also like to see any situation where he is put on the spot and asked basic questions about any subject like math, science, history, etc. Things your average high schooler might know, just to expose what a fucking moron that guy is. A global pandemic with a deadly disease. To make it a bit easier for him, I'll give him advance warning and have the disease start on the other side of the world. Say, China. Hell, let's have the disease hit Europe first to show that industrialized Western nations aren't immune from its effects. To make it even easier, I'll give him an advisor that's not only an expert on infectious diseases, but also politically experienced. To finish off, I'll give him a rabid cult-like base that will do whatever he says, no questions asked. On second thought, I think I made this too easy. There's no way he'd fuck it up. Famous, respectable people keep having private meetings with Trump, and when they are alone, but still being filmed per the premise, the respectable celebrity acts like a total lunatic for like half the meeting and then acts normally once the Secret Service finally replies. Nobody is allowed to acknowledge that everyone is constantly fucking with him, and nobody will undo whatever insane thing the celebrities do to his office, smear poop on the walls, cleaning staff doesn't see anything, etc. Also, the cable is constantly out wherever he goes. Lol. Brilliant. He solves this by sending our entire nuclear arsenal an attempt to move the moon. 2 scenarios for script writers to go wild. It doesn't work, which is what would happen IRL. Without the deterrents, China, Russia, Iran, and Venezuela team up and invade the USA. Watch meltdown. It does work. A little too well. Moon breaks into pieces. The storyline of 7 Eves ensues. Global apocalypse begins. I would set up Sacha Baron Cohen as the antagonist. New role every season. It is a summer break. Trump is on vacation, comes back and faces a new Cohen character as the ultimate enemy of the state. He hates everyone with shrieking passion, fueled by his success over the last one, but they just switch to the next one without mentioning the old one ever again. I'm an overly empathetic person, so this would be a rough watch. To be so egocentric, so focused on your legacy, that you betray all manner of decency just to become president. And then, finally, when all eyes are focused on you, you're slowly forced to realize that you can't live up to your own hype, that the only thing that gleams in that lonely spotlight is the overwhelming glare of your own incompetence. Yikes. I spoke to the alien leader. Good guy, great tentacles. He's got these butt plugs. They're really top quality. A lot of people think they're gay, not me. They've got some really positive health. Oh, you know, I'm pretty sure they stopped the China flu. Stop it right in its tracks. They're definitely not gay. Not that there's anything wrong with the gays. I love the gays, and boy do they love me. Anyway, we're gonna get together with our new friends and build this laser thing. The possibilities are endless. Trump shines in every situation by being a completely inept loaf of bread. Cabinet makers union goes on strike. These bad hombres, folks, they make some beautiful cabinets, don't they? With like, the handles, so many handles, and good handles, made in America, which is really where the quality is. You know, I know more about handles than anyone. The best handles. Lindsay Lohan gets stuck in a treehouse. Trees are so high, like, way up there, and she was in the Parent Trap, which was fake news, and it was really something, folks, and a lot of people, smart people said so, and when you gotta go, am I right? North Korea declares war on a small-town bakery. Korea, with the evil Cow Mi Dong, really not a bad person, once you get to know him. Such a great guy. He offered me his daughter once, and folks, I was the president, and these cupcakes, not like other cupcakes, but both sides are great, unlike Crooked Hillary, locked her up, extra fun, water cooler moments where you have to convince your coworkers that it's just a TV show. A black lesbian trans woman runs against him and is demolishing him in the polls. CNN, Fox News, Newsmax are all strangely in agreement that she would make a great president. At debates, the moderator mispronounces Trump's name, rarely asks him questions, and mutes him immediately when he interrupts her. Nobody in the courts or in his cabinet are going to let him cheat, and the army says that if he doesn't let her transition team in on November 3rd, they will act swift and hard. Probably too late to be noticed in this thread, but I've wondered for years how Trump would react to a tangible major religious event, such as the Second Coming. He has had such a strong following among Christians, but was unable to quote his favorite passage from the Bible, and it's pretty clear to me that his supposed faith was a facade to cater to his base. Putting him on the spot to actually lead the American response to the fruition of biblical prophecy would be a fascinating train wreck. It would be funny to test how far he would go and how much he would believe. Let's say all the world leaders would constantly give him praise in this scenario. Overwhelmingly, he likes praise a lot, like those round-table praise sessions he used to have. Would he buy that? Would he bask in that glory? How far would he go with his fascist agenda? Killing illegal immigrants, shooting protesters, wiping out all wrong thinkers. Let him kill all he wants to kill whilst being praised like the chosen one. Let his morals lay bare for all to see. Have the day-to-day stuff fairly normal, as much as is possible with this orange facsimile of a man, but convince him the White House is haunted by the ghosts of previous presidents. I'd like to think it would take more than someone wearing a blanket over their head, but realistically, yeah. Or have special forces pick up him and his family, tell them Biden and his administration were killed in an attack and the presidency is his again by default. They have to take him to the White House too. The secret backup White House for emergencies like this. Basically, it's a mini White House on a secret soundstage and all the rooms are bugged. They have to stay there whilst being fed war reports. He and his family have to manage the whole war from here, with every tantrum, betrayal, and truly awful battle plan broadcast to everyone. His followers will get to watch him talk shit about them and see what he really thinks of them, etc. We let him convict Hillary Clinton for Benghazi, and sentence her as he likes. We then turn around and convict him for all the COVID-19 deaths, and enact the same punishment he chose for Hillary, but, multiplied by the factor of difference between the 6 or 7 Americans who died in Benghazi, versus the number of Americans who died to COVID-19. Alternatively, someone leaks the plans to him, so he has to choose Hillary's punishment very carefully, knowing he'll get it 100k times worse. Maybe not the best punishment. He could very well decide she gets $10 for each death, paid for by the taxpayers. I am not saying he's smart enough to come up with that on his own, but surely someone will suggest it to him. Loaded gun cleaning, chlorine ingestion limits, hot swapping 240V components, penthouse defenestration impact testing, rickety lift oil change, metalwork sans PPE, genital shark chumming, freshly poured concrete foundation angels, race baiting in Detroit, moderate physical exercise, spelunking in Chernobyl, Congolese mandrel seduction, household chemical mixing, auto surgery, are you faster than a table saw? Identifying former secretaries of defense via blindfolded analingus, rubbed hyena belly scritches, and that's just off the top of my head. This might be unpopular, but I'd go some really dark shit, like, keep feeding him opportunities to dissolve democracy and become a dictator. See how he'd go. Give him decisions where he could back down or take more executive power. Would he make it illegal for the media to cover him negatively? Would he invoke prima nocta? Could we make him abolish the other branches of government and have total control? Invade Canada? Nuke China? Watch him descend into egomania and have people, the actors, start calling him God Emperor Trump. Then at the height of his power drop the curtain and expose it all as a giant joke on him. Just fucking crush him. I read through the comments, and some of them are even funny. But at the end of the day, I don't want this man's face on a television for anything other than being convicted and sentenced. Everything else would be me choosing to look at his face for other reasons, and to me there just aren't any. He's a truly despicable person, and putting that on display even Truman style doesn't sound good at all. I hate the man and everyone who supports him. I don't want to even live in a country with them anymore, let alone watch a show about how stupid their dear leader is. I'm just done. Oh my god, this is amazing. Okay, so here's mine. A national survey was held and it turns out the whole world loves Donald Trump so much that it's causing confusion about how to best celebrate how smart he is. Half the world wants to build him a statue that reaches to heaven, won't settle for anything less than this, and half wants to annex all of South America, sell it to Russia and give him all the money, and won't allow a statue to be built. So Trump has to decide to either have the largest statue ever built dedicated to him, or accept all the money in South America and turn down the statue, and no matter what he decides he permanently alienates and makes an enemy of whichever camp doesn't get their way, losing half of the world's love. So what does Trump decide? Take the statue and lose the money, take the money and lose the statue, or take neither and keep both groups' affection? Actually, we could wall off a specific area, tell Trump he was president again, and then send in some of his supporters to act as the cast for various scenarios. The ratings would be off the charts, especially after the forced close exposure to their Lord and Savior Donald Trump makes each supporter realize they've fallen for a false god, followed by an outbreak of assassination and coup attempts with the side business and trying to break out of the broken state of Trump. I, personally, would like to see the White Safari spin-off, where the older Trump sons are dumped in the woods and hunted like game animals. I'd be curious how he would react if the people around him genuinely treated him like a nice person, if they acted like he was the sweetest family man, the most generous neighbor, the most kind old man, if they lied to him about interactions they had and convinced him he was a good person and then slowly only respond to the positive interactions they have with him. Would he actually learn how to be a decent human? This is such a brilliant idea. I would set up a Twitter clone where I would have famous persons post about stuff, and see how he reacts. Kim Jong-un. I know for a fact that Trump's dong is tiny. Michael Bay. For my next action movie with spectacular visual effects, should I pick The Rock or Donald Trump as the lead actor? Hillary Clinton. Wish I could go back in time and pick Donald Trump for husband instead of Bill, and so on. There could actually be competitions to pick who would write the next big fake story, and people could bet on how he reacts. There's so much laugh and so much money into this. Don't just bring Trump as the only star, bring in his whole family, then create a fake sex tape of him having a drug-filled orgy with courtesans. The tape is leaked everywhere and no one is backing them up. Fox News is against him, the people are against him, everyone is against him. Watch him and his family just slowly go mad from the drama. Make this the series finale with him getting impeached and removed from office. If he refuses to leave the White House, have the military physically drag him out and watch him kick and scream the entire time. The kidnapping of his youngest son with an insane, but not unrealistic dollar ransom. Or forget the dollar and the only demand is to resign as president and simply, publicly address the nation with the statement, I am resigning as President of the United States of America and I am sorry for the damage I've caused. I'm honestly unsure and curious of what he really values more, his son, family, and human being, or money, power, and his pride. Everyone acting as though he's invisible and can't hear him, like we keep all the hidden cameras rolling, but no one interacts with him at all, no matter what. It would just really soothe my soul to watch a narcissist like that lose his mind as he lives the absolute worst narcissist nightmare, no one giving him even an ounce of attention or acknowledgement. Every day, one cast member is replaced by a Hispanic person. The replacements speak English to the original cast members, and Spanish to each other. All cast members are fluent in Spanish, and the originals, and everyone insists everyone is soaking English all the time, otherwise, how does Clayton McDougal know what they're saying? Eventually, Trump is the only white person there, and everyone is visibly frustrated that he only understands you if you're addressing him directly. Tell him war operation plan response has malfunctioned and only the true commander-in-chief can press buttons in response to avert global thermonuclear war. He has 4 buttons to choose: defer to Putin, defer to Biden, order a Big Mac. I was reappointed commander-in-chief by Mike Pillow.